You are now listening to Rings Kings Boxing World Flash Report.
All right, shout out to Ring Kings Boxing, fam. News that packs a punch. We in this thing. I'm your host, Big Q, man, for another episode of Ring Kings Boxing. Feel free to hit that like button and that sub button, man. We up in this thing for an update, man. And of course, Virgil Ortiz, man, made his case well known as he blast. Virgil Ortiz blast Erickson Lubin. He dropped the hammer on Lubin and blasted him in 2 rounds, man, and got him up out of there. Ortiz looked every bit the part and aggressive and serious. On his quest for him in a long overdue matchup between Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, man. Let's cover it. Shout out to Boxing Scene, man. He did a great article on it, but this was something, it was interesting, man. Ortiz is ready, man. He needed only 1 round to dispatch, to round the top what Jaron Boots Ennis did in the fall showcase. Ortiz was now 24-0 and with 22 knockouts, scored a 2nd round technical knockout. I mean, he knocked Lubin out, man, on his feet. Lubin went into a shell against the ring ropes, and he went into almost a coma. They had to get the stool out because he was literally out on his feet. They had to get the smelling salts to wake the kid up, man. It was a tough one, man, for him. So unleashing a punishing combination of Lubin's head as the Florida fighter was reeling back to the ropes. Referee James Green just jumped in there and hugged him and saved him 1 minute and 30 seconds into the 2nd round, sending Ortiz toward a mega showdown in early 2026 with Jaron Boots Ennis. So Ortiz fought with a recent unified welterweight champion, and it's watching from the ringside, fueling the fervent interest in an early 2026 showdown of the unbeaten Americans performing in their prime. Philadelphia's Ennis made his 154-pound debut last month with a 1st-round drudging in what he called was a tune-up fight. After that, they mostly jostled for position in first, with southpaw Lubin seeing jabs. Ortiz landed 3 clean rights, hands right up to the face, drawing cheers from the crowd every time he landed. Ortiz was just dialed in, man. He was very vicious in the matchup and was able to dispatch Erickson Lubin. I knew Ortiz would win the fight. I just figured that it would be a 5th or 6th round fight where he would get him out of there. But he made sharp work of it, and he could actually have fought another fight if he wanted to. He didn't really truly break a sweat in it, and I just thought it was a good look for him. And of course, what it does is seeing what Jaron did to his opponent and Virgil did to his opponent, which means this fight will be something very special between them. We're finally getting to this point where Virgil and Jaron will spar off, and as you can see, Boots got into the ring after the fight was over with, and they kind of talked and they had words back and forth. They kind of try to spice the thing up. I don't think you need to spice it up even more so, because number one, Virgil Ortiz is a respectable guy. He's not going to jaw back and forth at you. He's a smart and confident fighter, and I respect how he operates. He does his talking in the ring. And that's really not Boots in this game, but he's trying to talk the fight up to throw a little extra pizzazz in there. And I don't think he really needs to do that. These 2 knockout artists, this could be a triple fight situation, right? We could see Boots and have 3 fights. It could be that good, man, because these guys are really good, man. Both of these guys at the top of their careers, at the prime of what we've seen between these 2. So Virgil took care of business following that WBC's interim junior middleweight title defense against a respected veteran, and he beat him down bottom line. In a reminder of what boxing was like before Turkey Al-Rashid made posturing like this go away by writing big checks, Ortiz promoters and training emphasized that they are not absolutely beholden to Ennis. 35-0, 31 knockouts. The recent unified welterweight champion from Philly, who went out of his way to venture to Dickey's Arena for a ringside seat to Ortiz, bullish 2nd round knockout. So they're basically leaving it open because they want to unify. I think that's what Virgil's goal is, to unify, but the money, will they go for that? That's the question. This can be a great negotiation, Ortiz promoter Oscar told him. When I saw it, he says, when I say it has to be favorable to Virgil, that's the obvious case. Look what he did. Look at who he is. Virgil is the man. Having this fight in Las Vegas, possibly for the Cinco de Mayo weekend, would be huge, but Virgil Ortiz has to be the favorite word here, with Turki Al-Rashid aligning to fund the new Zuffa boxing venture headed by UFC chief executive and president Dana White, which we did a promote. If y'all don't know, you can check out that video. You know, that's something that they also talked about doing. Like De La Hoya, more recognizing that they need to stage their own major domestic shows for self-reliant purposes. Doing so makes risk and bottom line strong considerations. As long as the negotiations are favorable, we'll make the fight happen. Everyone wants to see the fight, so the money's not going to be an issue because there will be enough money in the pot. While Ortiz, who's 24-0 with 22 knockouts, can potentially attract the sport's mighty Latino fan base and has distinguished himself with a destructive effort against Lubin, that follows his hardy trumps over the WBA 154-pound champion Madrimov and contender Bukachuk. Ennis says he can counter that he's the one who has stood as the world champion. But what if Ennis promoter Eddie Hearn argues that this guy is the main guy? You know, I'm most certainly hoping that the promoters do not get in the way of this fight like we've seen in other fights over time. The fighters argued their credentials, and more in the middle of the ring, Ortiz rushed Lubin and landed crushing barrages to him. So we're ready for the best, Ortiz, 27, said. After answering questions about his knockout, we want to fight the best. Boots came out here, and I think he's the right. He's the fight that has to happen, man. That's it. That's Ennis agreed. But also remember that even Virgil is also interested in unification here. But a fight with Boots Ennis would definitely be a fight that is that people want to see, because these two guys here, in my opinion, are two of the really top guys that's at the 154. So Virgil's big punching ability, Jaren's punching, they're two knockout artists, but not just knockout artists. These guys can actually fight, man. They're smart guys, very similar styles, punching. It's going to be a showcase. So, and I said these guys are so good that it more than likely probably is going to be a 2 or 3 fight type deal between these two really skilled fighters. So that's what I'm looking for, man. And I'm really, hoping that that's what it becomes, because, man, listen, this is a long time coming for Ortiz and Ennis, man, to see this fight happen. And they're talking early 2026. But the thing is, like, people are kind of taking shots on the sidebar about this Zuffa. We posted the comment about what Roy Jones was saying. Boxing is in a bad way right now because we're not getting fights like Virgil and Jaren, or we're not getting the Shakurs and the Tanks, this type of thing. We're not seeing this. These guys are talking shit to each other, but they're not getting in the ring. They're not making this happen. So every time this happens, stuff like the Zuffa Boxing League, which Dana White, how he crafts his businesses, there's none of that. There's all this promotion stuff. No, he's the matchmaker. If you're a top fighter, we put you in the ring with this guy, y'all fight. We don't have fights like we have big guys. We had with Deontay Wilder, and what happened to Anthony Joshua. Like, they were supposed to fight like years ago when Deontay was still in the prime of his career and Joshua was there. Those two big guys were supposed to have a fight and couldn't come together because they couldn't decide on who the A and B sides was going to be. Deontay kept saying he's the A side fighter because he had this particular belt, and Joshua saying, no, I'm the A side because I have 3 belts to your 1 belt. So this type of foolishness creates opportunities and cracks and fractures where a Zuffa boxing could exist, because the message is clear. It's the Sheik's money and it's Dana's organizational ability and respect in the fighting game, not so much in the boxing game, but it's an attempt to organize boxing where you don't have these fighters passing like ships in the night talking shit to each other, that they have to actually line up and fight each other. Now, I respect that aspect of it. Now, some other things are a little different about who makes how much money, all this kind of stuff. But I promise you, once this stuff gets going next year, you're going to see them put out promotions, and they got the deals lined up with, even with the pay-per-view thing, how the pay-per-view thing is working with them. That changes. So a lot of innovation has happened because of this. They're trying to organize and create a boxing league. We haven't seen that before in the modern era, right? See, professional football and basketball and all these are under the same rules, but Boxing never had a boxing league, and this is what this attempts to do. So they have the money in the organization, whether you like it or not. The reason why they exist is because these fighters are not fighting each other. Instead of they talking, or like what Brian Norman Jr. did, and I like Brian Norman again, but he went over there to Japan to fight Sasaki. He just did that for the money, you know, as opposed to unifying and doing this type of stuff. That's the issue. Like, fighters going to get their money, but at the same time, you're going to get your money if you get the right fights. They don't understand. They thinking it's two separate things. Fight the right guy, you get the money. That's how it goes. In terms of Virgil and Jaron Boots Ennis getting in the ring in early January 26th, this is going to be special. I think so. So anyway, with that being said, y'all fill in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think about Jaron Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz. Who do you have, guys? Who do you guys pick winning that particular fight? Put it in the comment section below and let me know. And with that being said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, man. I appreciate y'all checking us out at Ring Kings Boxing. Please feel free to hit the like button, the sub button, and the notification bell if you want to be updated on all the latest news, man. We in here. Ring Kings Boxing, I'm Big Q, and it's boxing news that packs a punch. Much love, peace, and I'll let you on the next one.
Subscribe now and make Ring Kings Boxing your source for all the latest fight news.